Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
John and Heidi.
Here's John and Heidi.
Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Hey, baby.
Hey.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Oh, hey, we should probably get to work, shouldn't we? Got a special guest coming up later in the program, and I promise I'll be a little more prepared for him. Matt Parker is who we're going to be talking to, and he's talking about how great 2017 will be for real estate. So for people who are maybe wanting to, try the real estate market, this guy has got a book that he put out talking about how great this year should be for that. That's cool.
All right, cool.
Good news. Hey, you can lower your blood pressure with 3 to 4 10-minute walks a day, according to Indiana University researchers. 3 to 4 10-minute walks a day lowers your blood pressure.
Okay. Most people can't leave for 3 to 4 10-minute walks.
Well, if you have
work
one
during a work day.
Before work, and then one during your lunch hour, and one right after work, and one in the evening, there's 3 to 4 right there. See? Outsmarted you on that one, Heidi.
So you're going to get up at dawn to go
Sure.
for a walk before you go to work?
I'm not, but somebody could. Hey, music has been known to improve relationships. It can strengthen a couple's bond and relieve emotional tension. As a matter of fact, music has been known to improve our relationship because during the songs, we can make out.
Gosh.
We got some of that on the way. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. It's a really good weekend. Let's talk about Saturday, January the 21st, is National Hugging Day. I
love hugs.
So do I. Let's hug it out. It's also Squirrel Appreciation Day. I love squirrels. Although I have never hugged a squirrel. Ever.
Do with or without squirrels.
Really?
I've never really thought
I
much
think they're
about
kinda
it.
cool.
They're pretty cute. But
Sunday, January the 22nd, Answer Your Cat's Questions Day. Really?
I do not like cats.
How many questions does a cat have? Celebration of Life Day, National Bible Sunday, and Roe versus Wade Day. So, Roe versus Wade, what do you say?
I'm not taking that bait.
I was just going to...
At all.
I was going to see if you're going to be a wise guy and say, it depends on how cold the water is, if I'm going to row or if I'm going to wade.
Oh my gosh. That is your joke, not my joke.
Okay. Moving right along. Thanks for listening to... That's pretending like you're in the water if you're going to row in the water or wade. And
everybody got
just
it.
wanted to make sure I explained
It's
that.
not like that's highbrow humor.
I know. I just want to make sure my sense of humor is understood. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
It's a new year and many have made resolutions. Have you? If your resolution is to quit smoking, I want to help. This is one of the biggest resolutions every year. I met a hypnotist that's been able to help people with this one. He can send you a stop smoking hypnosis CD program that you just listen to, and it's designed to help you quit smoking. It's available at a discount for our listeners right now at radiosavings.com. Get the tobacco-free CD program for just $40. That offer is available right now at radiosavings.com. That's radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
You know it's true because you heard it on the radio. In Michigan City, Indiana, 11-year-old Cameron Schulte is lucky to be alive after a pickup truck ran over his head.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Cameron and his 13-year-old brother Tyler
Oh my gosh.
were helping their grandfather chop and load some wood. The boys were sitting on the tailgate of Grandpa's truck when he began backing down the gravel driveway. Cameron either fell out of the truck or jumped out of the truck. Grandpa Ron Shirley said that first he thought he ran over a piece of wood until he got out of the truck and saw Cameron lying face down in the gravel. Cameron was rushed to the hospital where tests revealed that he had a slight hairline skull fracture. He was released the next day with only a lingering effect seeming to be nothing more than a slight headache. Grandpa Ron said, maybe he's got an exceptionally hard head.
Yeah, clearly.
What
Could
else
you
would you
imagine
say?
how horrible you would feel? Oh my gosh, that would just be the worst thing ever.
That would be. And I'm really glad to hear the kid is okay. Otherwise, we certainly wouldn't be talking about this on the radio. Because that would be a really sad story, and we don't typically talk about those. But we like talking about things like this where, it's good news because the kid is fine. But if the kid wasn't fine, that would not be good news.
That would just be awful.
It would be terrible. So have you ever had anything run over, foot, hand, any of that kind of thing?
On me? No.
Yeah. Any part of your person run over?
No.
I had my foot run over
I'm
once.
smart enough to get out of the way of a moving vehicle.
No, it's not that I wasn't. It's not that I wasn't smart enough, but I got my toes run over, and nothing was broken, thank goodness. Didn't feel good, but it nothing was broken.
My dad got his foot run over by a golf cart when I was a little kid, and I used to have to rub his foot all the time. And I was the only one that did it right, so I had to do it all the time, like nobody else.
I didn't know you were good at that. You want to rub my foot? No?
No, I'm all foot rubbed out.
I just thought I'd ask. Anyway, this happened again in Michigan City, Indiana, and you know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
John and Heidi.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again,
844-204-1055.
and this is your brain on drugs. You ever have a splitting headache? Felt like a bunch of nails in your skull? Well, that's exactly what happened to an Oregon man. He had a headache, went to the hospital to find out what was wrong. They said, oh, hey, we found something. Well, we found 12 somethings, 12 nails that are in your head that he put there himself. He told doctors he had a nail gun accident. And then later they said, well, how did you shoot yourself 12 times? And he said, well, I was on drugs at the time. So no kidding. He was in remarkably good condition when he got to the hospital. Surgeons were able to remove the nails with needle-nose pliers because the nails did not penetrate the skull.
It's not
or
about
the nail heads.
It's not about the nail.
Yeah, that's funny because that's a video. If you don't know what that is, you got to find that online. It's not about the nail, John. It's not about the nail. Lady had a nail sticking out of her head. It's not about the
My
nail.
sweaters are all snagged.
Yeah, so this happened for real in Oregon, and 12 nails because he was all out of his mind on drugs and didn't know what he was up to.
Huh.
All right, coming up, your moment of duh, which this probably would have qualified for as well.
John and Heidi.
Now your moment of duh. For some reason, California artist Trevor Corneliuson wanted to draw a portrait of his own legs wrapped in chains. Trevor went to his favorite sketching spot, an abandoned mine shaft about 5 miles
That's a good idea.
north of the Mojave Desert town of Baker, California.
I can already tell this is not going to end well.
To ensure authenticity, Trevor decided to chain his legs together so he'd have a good picture. While the picture may have been accurate, his memory was not. After getting everything finished, he forgot that, oh no, I forgot to bring the key. He was forced to hop around for 12 hours through the desert back into town. On the bright side, Deputy Ryan Ford, who helped cut his chains, said the drawing was pretty good depiction of how the chains would have looked wrapped around your legs. Who would have done such a thing? Why would you even want a portrait of that? I don't understand.
I don't
know. What's this picture here? That's the time I chained myself up and had to hop around the desert for 12 hours. I don't really need the image because it's burned into my skull quite well. All right, we have your scoop of the day on the way.
The Scoop of the Day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now your scoop of the day. If I say fake news, who do you think of?
CNN.
Exactly, because that, recently was you are fake news. That was a big deal. Well, CNN is reporting that 78% of fake news is actually made up.
You think?
Wouldn't
That's
you
why it's fake
say
news.
100% is made up? They don't even know how much of it is made up. Only 78%
Maybe
of
they're
fake
saying
news.
78% of their news is fake news. Maybe that's what
I
they're
don't know.
saying.
I think they should steer clear of this topic. I'm just saying. Hey, when Texas Governor Greg Abbott met with Taiwan President this last week, he not only how do you say it?
Infuriated.
He infuriated China, but he may have personally offended President Tang Ing-wen.
I'm sure that's accurate.
Probably not. During the meeting, the Taiwanese president gave Governor Abbott a vase. Abbott, in turn, presented her with a clock decorated with the Texas state seal. The problem is, in both China and Taiwan, giving the gift of a clock is considered like a curse, representing the end of a relationship or a death.
Oh.
In basic
yikes.
terms, it's like telling somebody, I hope you die soon.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. Maybe somebody should be checking into these things before we just start handing out gifts willy-nilly. I mean, wouldn't it be a good thing to know that? Candy maker Mars is reporting buying some LA-based animal hospital chain, an LA-based animal hospital chain for $7.7 billion.
Why?
I don't know. But they decided, hey, let's diversify.
That's really diversifying.
Yeah. Hey, President Obama's farewell address was longer than President Reagan's and Clinton's and George W. Bush's combined.
Yeah.
51 minutes, 10 seconds to be exact. So even though that was, like a week ago, I'm just finally kind of crossing some things off my list here of stuff that I was going to read before. Mariah Carey's star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame was vandalized after her New Year's Eve performance. People are weird. I mean, who walks by that
People
star
are messed up.
and says, I need to vandalize that star because I didn't like what she did on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, whatever.
Okay, whatever. Exactly. Like Heidi said, whatever.
Whatever.
I should have a shirt made that just says, whatever. Heidi Small. Study at Columbia Business School shows that the bigger the desk somebody has, the more likely they are to steal.
Really?
Yeah. That's kind of weird.
That is extremely bizarre.
I know some people with gigantic desks, and I know people with tiny little desks, and look at this, Heidi. You have much more desk space than I have.
Only because I'm not as messy as you.
Wait a minute. So because I'm messy, I got the smaller desk?
No, because you can see more of my desk surface because I'm not as messy as you. We have equal sizes in desk space.
This is a tiny desk. That is a gigantic desk.
Whatever. Most of the stuff on my desk is your stuff. So you have expanded. This is all you over here.
Oh,
That's all you.
There's a reason for that. I didn't have room on
I've
my
got
side.
this. I've got this. This is what I have. This little space.
Let's argue later. More states are requiring physical education for elementary, middle school, and high school students, though few require kids to exercise for a specific amount of time. A report released by the American Heart Association and the National Association for Sports and Physical Education said that exercise for school children is also threatened by a rising number of waivers and exemptions from PE in school from different districts around the county. Did you ever get a waiver where you didn't have to do a PE?
No.
I got a note from my mom. I don't have to do that.
No,
I never
and
got one of those.
I literally had anxiety attacks about PE.
You didn't like PE?
No.
I wasn't a fan of that either.
I would freak out about it. I didn't like any sport where I had to get up and all eyes were on me. So like kickball, baseball, if I had to go up to hit
climb on
and
the
everybody
rope.
was looking at me. We didn't do that.
You didn't do any of that?
No. Did you have a
Pull-ups?
rope?
Yeah. It wasn't like the ones you see on TV, though. It was different than that. So I didn't like PE, but I took PE when I was a senior, even though it was like an elective. And it's funny because my first day of PE, he was like, why are you taking PE? And I said, I just want to be able to take a shower every day because I was working like 4 jobs. And I would get out of school to go work at the newspaper, and I'd get ink all over my hands and my
Right.
arms. So I would go to PE just to take the shower. So he's like, you don't need to go to class. Just come and take a shower. Throw a newspaper on my desk. So I kind of got out of PE and just got to throw a newspaper on his desk and go take a shower all to myself. Whole shower room all to myself. That is the way to take PE, my friends. We are way over on this break. Coming up, we've got a guest. That's on the way.
John and Heidi.
Radio advertising works. When it's done right, it works even better. There are many things you can do to get a better response, and shouting sale really isn't the best thing, believe it or not. Did you know that when you put words to music, they're 9 times more memorable? If you're trying to get people to remember your company, consider a jingle. We work with one of the very best jingle companies in the business, and we'd love to use music to help you grow your company. Learn more and hear examples at RadioReallyWorks.com. That's RadioReallyWorks.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show. Got a special guest joining us on the line right now. We have Matt Parker. He is the author of a book, Real Estate Smart, and we're going to be chatting a little bit about 2017 and how this could be a good year for you. But first, let's say hello to Mr. Parker. How are you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Well, we're glad to have you on the program. I know there are a lot of folks, as we turn the page and we start this new year, they're always kind of concerned. What is the new year going to bring? Is this going to be a good year? Is it going to be a bad year? You're saying that if you're trying to sell a home, it might be a decent year, right?
Yeah, it's still going to be a great year. Inventory levels across the nation are all really, really down.
So this would be a good opportunity if people are saying, hey, maybe it's time for me to upgrade and get that home I've always wanted, or maybe it's time to downgrade and, kids are gone. I don't need all this space anymore. 2017 might not be a bad year to put the home on the market, you're saying?
Yeah, absolutely. It's especially a good year to downsize because pricing has recovered. We've effectively doubled since approximately 2010. So if you own a large house and you're buying a smaller value house, you're actually going to take the large gain on your bigger house, and you're buying back into a good market, but you're buying a smaller house, so you get a greater percentage gain on your big house if you're downsizing. So, yeah, it's a great year to downsize, and it's still going to be a really great year for sellers.
Very cool. Now, what are the 4 factors that will impact the housing market in 2017?
So the interest rates, first I'm asking people to kind of ignore the interest rates on both sides of the ball because you have to go back actually before interest rates were even being monitored 40-plus years to find rates that would have been equivalent to what we've had in the last 2 or 3 years. So 4%, 4.5%, 5%, even under the worst-case scenarios, you're going to have really affordable interest rates for buyers this year. So that shouldn't affect the market all that much. Sellers, and number 2, sellers are a lot more realistic and in touch with the market nowadays. It was, 3, 4, 5 years ago, sellers were always sadly shocked to find out how much equity they didn't have in their home. But now it's the opposite. When I meet with sellers, they're all really excitable as to what they're going to receive on the proceeds of their home. So they're cleaning their houses nicely, they're staging them nicely, and they're doing good work for buyers to buy into really great homes.
Now, I see there's a thing here called the Stingy Seller Saga. Now, tell me, what is that?
Yeah, Stingy Seller Saga is what I call was sellers had a mindset that really made them stingy between approximately 2010 and 2014. They were so beat up by the market. 40 to 50% of their equity in their home had disappeared. Places that they had loved and paid mortgages on and cared for the last 5, 10, 20 years. Now that people that went to sell realized that they weren't going to make money on them and that buyers were just going to be able to feast across the board on pricing. And so sellers got stingy, and even for those times they wanted to list above what the market value was. And above and beyond that, when they prepared their home to sell it for buyers, they didn't have they wouldn't service the furnace. They wouldn't update the roof. They wouldn't update the paint that they needed to paint. So even though the market is high, buyers don't need to worry as much about stingy sellers because they have the money and the mindset to pass on a really nicely conditioned home to them. So
that makes for a really good, all of the different factors we've talked about makes for a really good market for people to buy a home and for people to sell a home.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a very active home. Sellers should feel confident they're getting good pricing, and buyers should still feel confident with the low interest rates that they're getting a good deal on their mortgage, even if the market did correct itself, which it has 4 times in the last 40 years. We're not expecting anything on level with what we saw in 2008. That's really hopefully something we never see is a 40 to 45% rollback again. So, yeah, it should be a very, very strong market, and by all indicators it still is due to very low inventory levels. There's just not the housing out there that people want to pick up.
Again, our guest today is the author of a book called Real Estate Smart. His name is Matt Parker. Now, Matt, how long have you been working in the real estate business?
11 years.
The people that are buying the book, Real Estate Smart, is it mainly like realtors, or is it people that are wanting to sell their home usually?
It's home buyers, generally speaking. And it's someone that's conscientious about, a lot of times about lifestyle, because there's a lot in the book that I prepared for people that I found about your home size, where you live, your floor plan, things in your home that affect the intangible health factors of your life, your happiness, your relationship, your health, those sorts of things. So, yeah, it's generally home buyers that are looking at the book is what I find.
Very nice. Now, the book, again, it's available right now. It's called Real Estate Smart. Where can I go to find a copy of this, Matt?
All online booksellers.
Very cool. Real Estate Smart, the author, Matt Parker. Matt, thank you again for taking some time to chat with us today.
Thanks so much. I really appreciate it. Happy 2017.
Yeah, and to you as well. And folks, if you've got a home that you're thinking of selling, maybe this would be a pretty darn good year to do it. And if you'd like to know more, you can check out his book. Again, it's called Real Estate Smart. And our guest today has been Matt Parker. Thank you for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
When is the last time you changed the air filter on your furnace? Now, don't be embarrassed. That happens to a bunch of us. The furnace filter should be changed often. This will help your heating and cooling system run more efficiently, and it'll even extend the life of your system. Now, there's an easy way to make it happen. Filter Easy, a new subscription service that delivers your size filter right to your door on the schedule you choose. It's easy. Filter Easy. One less thing to worry about. Learn about a special offer available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
The average person's left hand does 56% of the typing. So like if you're typing a letter or,
Okay.
typing a whatever. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A new study says that if you don't like a food, you should try to eat it in a different location to see if it'll taste better. Isn't that weird?
That is so bizarre.
I think it is. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
A moment is an actual unit of time. How long is a moment?
I have no clue.
Exactly 1.5 minutes.
Okay.
90 seconds is a moment. Just wait a moment. No, let's not wait that long. Fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
When a person sneezes, their heart stops for 1.5 seconds.
I've heard that. I think we talked about that one other time.
Yeah,
or
it's a
maybe
lot
it was
less than a
on
moment.
Tuesdays with Charlie or something.
Yeah. And our final fun fact for you, Heidi.
What's that, John?
This is weird. Rubber bands last longer when refrigerated.
Who refrigerates their rubber bands?
I don't know.
If I went to somebody's house and they had rubber bands in their fridge, I'd be like, we gotta go.
Yeah, sorry, we can't stay for dinner after all. Why not? Because you have rubber bands in the fridge. And there's batteries in there, too. I mean, come on. All right. Thanks for listening to a couple of fun facts on the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
This is Richard Lustig, the world's first and only 7-time lottery game grand prize winner. Since I endorsed Lottolicious, I have won something every single draw. They do all the work. You don't have to worry about running to the store to buy your tickets. They take care of all that. So if you're looking for the best way to play the lottery, to give yourself the best chance of winning, go to RadioLottoPool.com and join today. Again, that website is RadioLottoPool.com.
John and Heidi.
Thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show this weekend. Are you an impatient pain in the neck, Heidi?
I don't think I'm impatient.
Do you think I'm an impatient pain in the neck, Heidi?
I think you're very impatient.
Good man, ain't I?
Yeah.
Answer each question true or false and keep track of your points. So let's just keep track of the ones that are true. You think everyone is entitled to make a mistake. If you answer true, give yourself a point. Do you think that's true? I think that's true.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to a mistake. You would never dream of peeking at your Christmas presents ahead of time.
That's true.
I wouldn't either, but I like to guess.
You are such a pain in the butt at Christmas.
But I don't peek.
You can't just leave well enough alone.
I
You got to
pick up
mess
the
with them
box and
constantly,
shake it
and you're
and
like, I know what this one is. This one is this, and this
Thanks
one
for
is
this
this.
DVD.
Yeah.
Ooh, I'm excited to read this book.
Yeah. Don't even try to pretend like that's not.
But
you.
I don't peek. If your home is crammed with paintings, needlework, or other examples of your favorite hobby, true or false? Do we have?
Oh my gosh! Look at this room.
If you prefer newspapers, magazines, and watching TV to reading books, if you answered false to this, you give yourself a point. I'm kind of losing track of how many points we have. If your garage or basement is cluttered with unfinished projects, I'm not going to finish that question. Yeah, that's me. If you love crossword puzzles and other games that tax the mind, I actually do. If you grind
how are we supposed to answer that one?
It says if you answered true, give yourself a point.
Okay.
If you grind your teeth in rush hour traffic, false. If you answered false, give yourself a point. If you play musical checkout lines at the checkout counters, waiting for the one that's...
You are terrible at that. I'm like, just wait.
That drives me nuts.
And you're like, that line's moving faster. We go to that line, and then the line we were in moves faster.
But here's the thing that bothers me is, okay, there's like 7 people standing in line, and then there's one dude that walks up behind everybody, and they're like, hey, open on aisle 5, and that one dude that just showed up is the one that walks over there. You're like, dude, you just got here.
Not usually.
All these people.
When that happens, I experience line etiquette most of the time. When somebody says, do you want to go over there?
If I'm the dude that's at the end of the line, I say, you were here first, come on over.
Yeah.
Every time.
That's line etiquette.
It is, but there's some people that don't have that. If you'd like to...
That would be people like you that are too impatient to stand in line.
If you interrupt people during conversations. If you've ever exceeded the speed limit. Okay, I'm going to just throw this online for everybody to take this on their own. And yes, I'm
You're
impatient.
impatient.
All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
It's a new year, and many have made resolutions. Have you? If your resolution was to lose weight, you're not alone. This is the single biggest resolution every year. And every year, millions of people try, and many fail. I met a hypnotist that's been able to help people with this one. He can send you a weight loss hypnosis program on CD that you just listened to, and it's designed to help you reduce the cravings. It's available at a discount for our listeners right now at radiosavings.com. Get the weight loss CD program for just $50. That offer is available now at radiosavings.com.
John and Heidi.
Why are Americans so overweight? They say it has something to do with eating. Really? That's literally the headline. Do you wonder why over half of Americans are considered overweight? According to a University of Minnesota study, it's because of the increasing numbers of food brands available to us. Mm-hmm. The more food available, and we have more available than ever. They say that that's a reason that Americans are eating out more and eating larger portions.
Yeah.
As a result, for every dollar spent in households on food, 20% went to eating out. In the 1970s, now it's 38%, almost doubled.
I bet it's higher than that even.
For us, maybe not for everybody.
I bet
That's the average.
for a lot of families, I bet it's way higher than that.
Food is just so darn yummy. That's what the problem is.
Well, and it's too readily available. It's everywhere.
I mean, you can stop and have food in like a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
There's some places you can go in and they've got food like waiting for you, and it's all like in a big line. You just get a plate and walk through and grab it. Here's the crazy thing. That is not...
I do not like those kind of restaurants.
I love buffets, but they don't have those everywhere. So, that's why in America, we're a little overweight. It has something to do with, all that food we're jamming in our face.
And the lack of physical activity.
That too. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
Here's kind of a fun story. There's some kids that go to school for 4 years. There's others that go to school for, 8 years, college. 70-year-old bookshop owner in the UK just graduated after 28 years of college courses. He now has collected his BS degree, Bachelor of Science. He's also been given the dubious distinction this week of receiving a Guinness Book of World Records certificate for the longest time recorded to complete a university degree. He started on a science foundation course way back in the 70s.
Wow.
Started studying as a hobby, and he didn't want it to end, so he plans now to take a doctorate at a breakneck speed. He says, I think I'll do that in 8 years because that's what the limit is. So they only give you 8 years to get your doctorate. So there you go. Fun stuff. I did not take that same pace at going to college. I didn't go. And I'm sure you can tell by listening to the way I speak on this program. I ain't the most educated man out there. Thanks for listening, though, to the John and Heidi Show.
John and Heidi.
It's a new year, and many have made resolutions. Have you? If your resolution was to quit drinking or to kick a drug habit, we want to help. Our friends at Keystone can help you determine the best program for your particular needs. This is something that really matters to me. My father was an alcoholic. He lost his battle at age 49. That's just too young. If you're searching for help, I hope my friends at Keystone can help you find the help you're looking for. Call 844-204-1055. That's Keystone, 844-204-1055.
John and Heidi.
Interesting thing, when you come from a big family and when you come from a smaller family, I think things are a little different. You come from a family with just 2 kids, you and your brother.
Yep.
So you don't have, the same kind of things. I come from a family where there's 3 boys and 3 girls. I'm one of the boys, by the way. So I just want to make sure I threw that out there.
Yes, you are.
I have 2 brothers and 3 sisters. But it says here, even when kids move out, mom's favoritism still matters. What do you think of this? When mom repeatedly singles out one adult child more than another, whether for praise or a slap on the wrist, she is unwittingly contributing to her offspring's depression. According to a recently released research, that's kind of fun to say, recently released research. Doesn't that almost sound like a mistake? Anyway, perceived favoritism from one mother's still matters to children's psychologically. So from your mother, if she's like praising your brother or your sister, but you're not getting that, then that really matters. Does that matter to you and your family?
I've never
With just you and
noticed
your
that
brother?
my mom does that.
I don't think so either.
I don't think they
I don't
do
think
that.
my mom does that either. But I know I've seen some families where that happens.
Oh, yeah.
And it can be a big deal.
It does cause major
We know
problems.
somebody that has, and there's 2 daughters, and the one daughter
and
can
it
do
is
no wrong,
blatantly obvious.
and the other daughter can do no right.
Yeah, it's
And I mean, no
horrible.
matter what she does, she gets kind of, the short end of the stick, and I think that's awful. I just feel terrible for her. Anyway, according to these smart folks here at Cornell University, it doesn't matter whether you are the chosen child or not. The perception of unequal treatment has a damaging effect for all siblings. Even mom's favorite takes a hit.
Yeah.
Interestingly, being the favorite child has some of the more serious drawbacks. The favored child feels guilty. He or she can experience negative relationships with the other siblings who may be resentful. With older parents, favored children may be expected to provide more care and assistance for the parent, leading to stress. As for which children becomes mom's favorites, parents tend to prefer the oldest or the youngest as opposed to us poor kids in the middle. Says they gravitate towards the children who are more similar to them in personal characteristics and values. So there you go. This, again, is from the folks at Cornell University. What do they know? Coming up, we've got some good news that is on the way.
John and Heidi.
This portion of the John and Heidi Show is brought to you by the John and Heidi Show. That sounds kind of funny, but it's true. Go to your local radio station and ask them to start carrying the John and Heidi Show. Here's the best part. They can carry the show for free. They play a couple commercials, but it doesn't cost them anything every month. So if you know a radio station that could use a little bit of help, send them our way. Send them to johnandheidishow.com. Again, johnandheidishow.com. We would love to do a radio program in your community. Then you could listen to the podcast and listen to us on the radio.
John and Heidi.
We always try to wrap things up around here with some good news, and this is a fun little good news story. This was actually sent to me through the old interweb here on Facebook, and I've got a copy of this on our Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show, and it is a machine that does something great with your leftovers. I had no clue what a big deal this was until I watched the video, but this is a little box that sits next to your kitchen counter.
I watched this. What is the purpose? I don't understand.
It's so it says it turns your waste into fertilizer. So you throw your food, your table scraps and whatnot into this little machine, and it looks to me like that lady. Yeah, there you go. You stick this little thing in there.
Yeah, there you go.
No, she was sticking something in there that's like an enzyme or something, and then it grinds it all together and it turns it into compost. Now, the thing that's interesting about this, I was helping at it says the average person wastes a bunch of kilograms of food every year. It said how much, but I missed it. Anyway, you can watch the video if you want to know all the details. But I was at a competition for college students where they were supposed to come up with like the next great business idea. And I got to be one of the judges. Not a judge. What was I? I wasn't a judge. What was I?
A consultant?
Yeah, I don't know. A person that was kind of helping. There was a name
That's
for it.
Called a consultant.
I don't think that's what it was called, though. It was something else.
Okay.
Anyway, I was there to help them, to kind of steer them in the right direction. Or in my case, maybe steer them in the wrong direction. But there was one of the groups that was working on a device very similar to this. As a matter of fact, when I first saw the video, I thought, oh, hey, I wonder if they got their patent and all their stuff. But it's different. It's not the one that I was a part of. But it's very similar to what they were working on. So that tells me that their good idea was very, very much so a good idea. Because it's a cool concept, and there's people out there that are looking for that. So, do you think you'll get one of those, Heidi?
No.
You're going to just keep throwing your garbage in the garbage?
Here's the thing. Why doesn't the landfill get those and throw all of the applicable waste into those?
At the landfill?
Yeah.
Then somebody would have to sort it.
The employees that work there.
Can't you just sort it right in your kitchen?
But then you have to have one of those stupid machines. If there was a separate garbage can for that sort of thing, then yeah,
maybe
absolutely.
that's what you need.
Yeah. But
All right.
I mean, you know how much one of those things will probably cost?
I have no
and then
idea.
you got to buy the stuff to break the enzyme stuff. It would be so expensive to have one of those in your house. It's not practical.
I was thinking it might stink because you got like rotting food
It's
sitting
just not
next to your-
practical. It's a ridiculous idea.
Well, then don't go watch the video if you're not interested. I think it's a good idea.
It's a cool concept, but
right.
it's not practical for every day
It
for
is
everybody's home.
Clearly, time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the weekend edition of the John and Heidi Show.